Look at this picture. And how about this one? Speak about a photo. How do I do it? Why, when I do it, do I sound nervous? Does it sound so boring when I speak? How do I not repeat myself? Okay, speak about the photo. That's what we're talking about today. Let's go through 5 steps on my method that will help you confidently and logically get through this question. Now, is my method the best way to do it? No, there are many ways to tackle this question, but this works and I hope it helps. I'm sure it will. I'm making this video because I've gotten many requests from people and comments that ask me, please do a video about speak about the photo. And this is important. This question appears 1 time on the test. And for the production score, it carries a lot of weight. Before we get to the strategy, let's do a little fun hack that makes this experience a little bit more human. And here's what I want you to do. Take your computer. Here it is, my laptop. I'm going to take the test on this. I open it up. I've got my camera right here. Here's what we do. I want you to take a photo, a picture of somebody that you love. It could be your dog. It could be your mom and dad. It could be your kids, your husband and wife. I want you to take a picture and I want you to tape it behind the laptop right here. Yes, tape it right here. So here we go. Here's a picture of my kids. See my kids? I'm going to take this picture and I'm going to put a piece of tape right here. We'll use green tape like this so it doesn't stick on the picture or the laptop. And I'm going to tape it right here behind the laptop, just like this. Okay? So that when I'm speaking into my computer, because many people have said that it feels so uncomfortable and unnatural. But now, look at this. I'm looking at a picture of my kids and it feels like I'm looking into the camera, but the kids are at eye level or your puppy's at eye level or whatever you want that photo to be. It could be Santorini, whatever makes you happy and smile. Now, don't you dare put one of your sample answers or templates taped to the computer here because the DET police will get you. Don't do that. Nobody said you can't do that, right? We're trying to make the experience a little bit more fun and something that will put a smile on our face and have the appearance of talking to another person. Good. All right. Remember that when we're speaking and writing in the production part, we have to be a blend of an academic person and a human person. We have to be ourselves. So we have to speak academically. We have to use sophisticated vocabulary and great structure. But I have to be me and you have to be you when we speak. So using phrasal verbs and idioms, a combination of that, that's not easy. The technique and the philosophy behind this 5-step method is that it jumps between easily memorized segments to something a bit more difficult. And then back to easy so that your brain has a predictable path. It's not all pain and suffering. It's a little bit like a roller coaster. The climb, the dip, the turns. It's a little bit scary and fun, but you can also see the tracks ahead of you. The final part of this video that I want you to stick around for in the end is that we're going to take this structure and process that we're using, speak it into the computer, run it through AI, and see how we score. Is that fair? Stick around. Here we go. Okay, let's take a look at the map, the 5 steps that we talked about, the easy and the more difficult sections, and we'll go through them one by one. This is where I was talking about the predictive path and what to expect while answering the question. I've color-coded it for you. Okay, here we go. We have an image. And here we have people on a train. They're wearing white. So many things happening in this picture. Where do I even begin? Let's take a look at the map. Okay, so here's the map that we came up with for a formula, the 5-step process. We start with the summary. We go to location and description. We move on to number 3, which says, if I were. Then we go to number 4, which says, this image reminds me. And then on to number 5, which is speculation. Now I've color-coded it, and what it means is we've gone from green to red to green to orange to red. One more time. Green to red to green to orange to red. That means easy, hard, easy, medium, hard. So this means that there are sections that are easier for you. There are sections that require a little bit more work and a little bit more thinking and speaking. And then there's a medium section where it's a little bit smoother as well. So now let's break it down one by one, shall we? Here's our image of people on the subway. And step number 1 says it's a summary, and it should go for about 10 seconds. The image depicts a group of commuters dressed in summer clothing, standing alongside each other on a subway during rush hour, and they appear quite discontent. Discontent is a good word for uncomfortable. So we have good structure. We have a complex sentence. We have words that are high on the academic scale, lexical complexity with alongside and discontent. This is our summary. We speak for 10 seconds. And now step number 2. This is the location description part of the image. We have to speak between 15 and 20 seconds in this section. Again, the reason we're doing this is that we have to speak for a total of 1.5 minutes or 90 seconds. So having each section timed is very good practice. There are several items worth mentioning in this image. The bright blue neon signs at the top of the photo display are advertisements, and the colors are quite vibrant. Also, the gray handles run along the sides of the picture adjacent to the silver poles on top. Half the commuters are standing while the others are seated. So there are several items worth mentioning. So we have bright blue, we have colors, we say vibrant, we say adjacent. In this section, when we talk about location and description, it's important to understand prepositions are very key in this section of the question. There are over 50 prepositions in English, and my suggestion is try to find 5 to 10 of them that you can use. You don't have to remember all 50, but you need to remember more than just 3. Remember also that every item is always doing 2 different things. For example, the wallet is on the desk next to me. The coffee cup is on top of the desk in front of the monitor. Every item has 2 locations, and we can use prepositions for that. When we say words like adjacent and alongside, these are C1 and C2 level words in the academic scale. So keep that in mind. Use higher level prepositions. Okay, step 3. If I were. I call this the if I were. Now, if I were, when we say that, we're using the subjunctive mood in English, is the mood that expresses doubt. If I were to take a guess, this image was taken sometime at the end of the day as most people are coming back home from work. It's probably warmer weather outside as they're wearing white short-sleeved shirts. We can see that this is green and this section is green because they're easier to remember. This section is almost entirely memorized. Okay, remember, we can't memorize the entire script. We can't do that because the proctors will catch us. They'll know that it was a rehearsed answer. But we have to be smart, right? Here's a little technique when speaking. Memorize sections. I want you to have a little lift in your voice. They're going to kill me for telling you this. And so when you have this lift in your voice, it gives the impression that you're thinking about your answer, even though it's already here and you've memorized it. It gives everybody the idea that you're thinking as you're speaking, and you don't sound like you memorized it. So look, here's what we did. If I were to take a guess, when we lift our voice, it means there's more information coming. It's almost like a pause or a comma. I have more information. If I were to take a guess, this image was taken sometime in the middle of the day, around lunchtime, because the sun is shining brightly. I don't know if that's the best example of it, but the idea is to speak naturally. We have a little lift, and when we lift our voice, it tells the listener that there's more information coming. We sound great. We don't sound like we've memorized anything. Moving on to step number 4. This image reminds me. This is your chance to tell a little story. As we can see, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 15 seconds. We have to speak for 20 seconds in this section in order to go for the full 90 seconds. This image reminds me of a time several years ago when I traveled with a group of friends on the subway on a class trip. We were all headed to a museum in central San Francisco, California. We had a great time, but the shuttle back and forth was a bit painful. I recall it being extremely crowded and congested both ways, so it made for an uncomfortable experience overall, just like in this image. We're telling a story, and whatever story we're telling, we're relating our own experience to the image, even if it didn't actually happen to you. This is really important to be able to speak longer. Now, are you telling the truth? Have you really been to Venice, like the photo? Have you eaten in a fancy restaurant, just like the one in the photo? Have you done that? Or are you telling a little? Guess what? Nobody really cares. Say it like you have. Be emphatic. You don't lose points for telling a story. The whole idea here is, can the person taking the test speak well? Logically, structurally, and with relevance. This is all relevant. Trust me here. And step number 5, speculation. We want to speak between 15 and 20 seconds. Speculation means we're trying to figure out what is happening, what might just have happened, what could be happen are modal verbs. Can, could, will, would, shall, should, may, must, might, and forms of be. So speculation. They could have just finished work for the day and might be feeling exhausted because they are leaning their heads against the walls and the people standing are expressionless. As with most commutes, everyone is staring blankly into their phones, waiting to arrive at their destination. So, again, it's a red section. Red means it's more difficult. It's not easy to speculate. When we look at a photo, we're trying to figure out what happened, and it shows critical skills and your ability to think on your feet and speak about what you see in the photo. This is really important. So when we add up these numbers, we come very close to 90 seconds, okay? So these are the 5 steps that really work in the formula and score well on the test. Let's take a look at the next photo. What should we do here? We have a girl. She's got a big bug on her arm. She looks shocked. She's chewing gum. All right, here's the map. Same idea. Summary, location. If I were, this image reminds me, and speculation. Let's break it down one by one. I'll go through it a little more quickly this time. Here's the image of the girl, and the first step is the summary. The gripping image illustrates a young girl dressed in a pink shirt, standing alongside some flowers outside, and she appears quite alarmed. Step number 2, location description. There are a few points worth mentioning in this image. The light green praying mantis walking up her arm at the bottom of the photo is striking. It's very noticeable. Praying mantis is the name of this big bug. Colorful flowers bordering the garden fill the background. The girl has vibrant blue eyes and blonde hair, which is at about shoulder length. Her mouth is gaping in surprise while she chews gum. Number 3, if I were to take a guess, this image was taken sometime in the middle of the day, perhaps in the summer, as the sun is shining and the girl is wearing light clothing. Don't say clothes, say clothing. It ranks higher on the scale. Number 4, this image reminds me of a time a few years ago when my niece was in the park with her friends and she encountered some interesting bugs. She was a bit frightened at first, but showed some courage because she loves the outdoors, just like the girl in this picture. Moving on to speculation. This bug could have just jumped onto her arm from the ground, or perhaps it was placed there by another person. I'm saying this because the expression on the girl's face appears to be surprise and shock, and she's extending her arm outward as to keep the mantis at a distance. I imagine that the bug is a bit dangerous and shouldn't be played with. So, how do we remember this formula? We can't remember all the details for each section, but we can remember the beginnings, can't we? This is how we begin to build a formula for Speak About the Photo. And it looks like this. The image depicts, and our summary. Location. There are several items worth mentioning. Think of 2 items that you want to talk about. Don't talk about everything in the photo, 2 items. And remember, these items have locations that could be in front, next to, underneath, above, behind. Find some good prepositions. If I were to take a guess, this image was taken. If I were to take a guess, this image was taken. This image reminds me of a time, and they could have just. The image depicts, there are several items worth mentioning. If I were to take a guess, this image reminds me of a time, they could have just. People have asked me, how do we start these pictures? How do we start each section speaking about it? Well, now you got the answer. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. That helps me come up with new content, and it helps you because your life is just better with me in it, right? Isn't it? But seriously, just do it. It's that button right there, or right there. Okay, now the fun part. Let's do 3 Speak About the Photo questions and score them using AI. And just like the other production-based questions, here are the parameters for the scoring. First, you have your overall score. Grammatical accuracy measures your punctuation, capitalization, and spelling. Grammatical complexity is what we've worked on today, using more than just simple sentences and putting sentences together to make them complex. Lexical sophistication means using fancy words words that are higher up on the academic scale. Task relevance. Are you staying on topic? If the question is about a vacation that you took, are you making sure to stay on topic and not writing about something completely different? You could have perfect grammar and great complexity, but if you're off topic, it's going to affect your task relevance score. Finally, lexical diversity. Not repeating yourself and using a diverse range of vocabulary. You'll probably never remember that or all of the steps that we've talked about today in the correct order when the question comes up on the test. But with practice, by doing it again and again, we'll get better, right? Don't take the test without preparing. That's why I made these videos. Promise me. Okay, the first one, let's go. The unique image depicts a man wearing a navy jacket and black gloves, adjusting the letters on his signboard using a pole. This looks like a renovation project for his place, which has an old town type of charm. There are a few items worth mentioning. The man engaged in adjusting the movie signboard letters, and the rundown look of the town evident from the posters taped to the building. If I were to take a guess, this image was taken during a quiet afternoon as the man seems focused on his task, possibly during a lull in customer activity or before the rush of people in the evening for the movies. This image reminds me of a time when I visited an old bookstore in a historic town. The owner was engrossed in rearranging books on the shelves and creating an atmosphere of preserving the store's character. The man could be preparing for a new movie premiere or a special event at the theater, aiming to attract more visitors with a refreshed appearance. He also may simply be maintaining the aesthetics of the theater, ensuring that it remains the centerpiece of the old forgotten town. All right, let's see how we do. Okay, great. We have an overall score of 145. Grammatical accuracy, lexical sophistication, task relevance, very good. Grammatical complexity, we probably could have used some sentences that were a little bit more complex and a little bit more fancy words. But overall, this is a very good model for Speak About the Photo. Okay, let's try the next one. Here we go. The unique image depicts a young boy hiding behind a wooden post, showing his playful self. His clothing, consisting of blue jeans and a white sweater, contrasts against the background of greenery. There are a few notable items worth mentioning in the image. While the wooden post serves as a hideout and main point of the picture, the green surroundings provide a natural and calm backdrop to the scene. If I were to take a guess, this image was taken sometime in the middle of the day because the sunlight looks strong and gives a gentle glow, adding warmth to the overall atmosphere. This image reminds me of a time when I used to play hide and seek with my friends in our backyard. I remember the excitement of finding hiding spots, much like the boy in the photo, and the joy of discovery when we were found. This person could have just found this spot for a moment among the surroundings. He could think that it's a great place to hide, even though it's quite narrow and he's clearly visible. Nonetheless, this photo is amusing. Okay, let's see how we score. Okay, score of 140, grammatical accuracy good, sophistication and relevance good. So we're staying on task. Our complexity and diversity is about the same, but an overall score of 140, another good AI score. Okay, let's do the last one. This is a challenging task for sure. The unique image depicts a man sitting outdoors, focusing his talents on sketching human faces, and he appears focused. He is seated on a yellow chair in a black leather jacket and jeans. There are a few items worth mentioning: the man doing his sketching, the natural surroundings of the field and trees, and the group of his completed sketches, highlighting his commitment to art. If I were to take a guess, this image was taken sometime in the late afternoon as the climate appears mild and moderate and a bit cloudy. The image reminds me of a time when I observed an artist work in a city park. He had several pictures displayed, and he was extremely talented as he sketched people's profiles. It really resonated with me, just like the scene in this photo. The man could be offering his services as a portrait artist, creating personalized artwork for people, or He might actually be doing this as a business where he sets up his studio on the street and has paying customers visit him. All right, let's see how we do. Good. Okay, a little lower on the complexity this time and here, but we're doing very well with grammatical accuracy and sophistication. Overall score of 135. And again, on the scoring, the lowest score is going to affect your overall score more than your higher scores will. So keep that in mind. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Please like and subscribe to the video or leave a comment. I do my best to answer all of your comments, as some of you already know. And if I can't respond or we haven't contacted each other, then I'll make a video here. I am listening to what you like, you want, and you need in your DET journey. Now, if you need some good tips and techniques in writing about a photo, check out this video right here.